Hello, welcome back to Farmers Media. My name is Misaro and this is a Farmers Breakfast Show. Today tumeanza kama tumechelewa kidogo, but eri kuwa late, better late than never. So welcome and tell me where you're watching from. Here we connect, learn and grow. And my name is Misaro, your host. So today we're going to talk about this campaign that is going on about safe use of pesticides. Why are we having this campaign? I thought that it will be good for me to tell you guys why we have this campaign and why this campaign is really important and why you should share our content so that we can have more people coming in to join, so that we can have more people having this content or this knowledge rather. So I'm going to first of all tell you the history of pesticide and where this environmental concern issue came from. So back in 1990s, like 1940s, there was this pesticide that was developed by the first scientist who developed a pesticide. It was called DDT. So DDT was a really effective pesticide at the first. It was very effective and it had a good success, in such a way that the people who started it, they got a Nobel Prize. But later on, some scientists noticed that there was some issues with DDT because it was used for human, livestock, and farming. So people realized that there was an issue with DDT. So DDT was the issue they realized it was that it was accumulating in fatty tissues of animals. So they raised an alarm, and then it was banned like 10 years later. And that's when this all concern about pesticide use, safe use of pesticide, and that's why we are so concerned nowadays. And that was when people started getting concerned about the pesticides that are used in their crops, and then more care was put into the production of pesticides. And there have been more campaign on people ensuring that pesticides that are produced are good for our environment. They're also good for our crops, and they do not have a lot of residues. And that's why we're having this campaign today. Even today, different countries, they have different regulations. And in Kenya, we also have regulation for pesticide use. But before we go into why we really have it in Kenya, I would like to look at the farming news that we have right now. So for today, we have good news. That was the news was last week on 29th, which is like 2 days ago. So the news is that the price for maize, watu wa ugali, wenye tunapenda ugali kama sisi, the price for maize imereduce. 90 kg of maize was going for 3,000 or 2,900, but right now it's 26, and therefore the price for 2 kg maize flour has also reduced. And that is good news for us, and that is good news because we're going to have food safety, and that is our main role, and that is why we're also doing safe use of pesticides. So we're going to go to Kenya. Why are we having this in Kenya at the moment right now? The reason as to why we're having this is that this is in partnership with UNIDO and Markup. We are doing this so that we can have safe food for our local market and our international market, and so that we can have more people having the information on safe use of pesticide, because that is where everything begins. Like if we have healthy and safe food, we are all going to be a healthy nation. And kama mtu ameshiba, kazi itafanyika. So if our agricultural produce are good, we are going to have a healthy nation. We are going to have international markets and all that. So it comes to our attention that most farmers in Kenya, they do not understand the safe use of pesticides, or rather people are not concerned about, because we have all this information available. They are available online because we have bodies like the PCPP, which is Pest Control Product product board, which is under NEMA, that regulate the pesticide that we're supposed to use in Kenya. And people are not aware. More people are not aware of this. So what farmers do is that they just go by pesticides because wanajua pesticides zinatumika kuua wadudu, but they don't know which wadudus specifically are they going to kill. Farmers do not even know how to identify these wadudus. Farmers do not understand the safety of the pesticide. They do not understand the effects of the pesticide to our environment, because if these pesticides are not used correctly, pesticides are made to kill living things. And we are also living things. So this is something that we really need to be concerned about. But this pesticide at the same time, they help us grow more crops, and they also help us from things like they protect us from diseases, and they also they also help kill insects in our home. They're disinfectants and all that. But if they're not properly used, they're going to be hazardous to our environment and hazardous to the whole planet as well. So that's why we are having this Save Use of Pesticide campaign that is going on, and I would like you to share out our content so that we can have more people coming in and more people getting to get this content. So for now, I'm just going to welcome people who have joined in. I can see we have 8 people who are watching us, and I will advise that you comment and say hi and tell us where you're watching us from, and you share out the content so that we can have more people coming in. If you comment, we're going to know who has joined and who has not joined. So kindly, if you're watching us, say hi to me so that we can know people who are coming in. We have people watching, but we are not commenting. You can comment and share the live stream, because this is a very important topic that we all need to understand, that we all need to share out, because safe use of pesticide is our responsibility. We all are responsible for food safety, and it all starts with the farmer. The farmer needs to be educated on good agricultural practices that are going to produce a safe and healthy crops for our consumption. So please, if you're watching us, please comment and tell us where you're watching us from, because I can see we have people in, but you are not saying I. And please share out this content so that we can have more people coming in, and therefore more people getting to get this information. So we are going to save use of pesticides in Kenya. As I had said earlier, we have a board called PCPP in Kenya that regulates the use of pesticides in Kenya. And there are pesticides which have been banned in Kenya, and the pesticides which have been allowed to be used in Kenya. And that's why we all have to understand about or learn about the PCPP and go to their website and understand the pests and get to information on the pests that they have allowed to be used in Kenya. And also we need to be we need to know when we go to the pesticide when we go to the website, we are going to get information on licensed agro dealers, because we have people who are doing this selling agrochemicals, yet they are not qualified. We have people in their shops, but they are not qualified to sell the agrochemicals. So when we know all this information, when you're going to buy something, make sure that you are buying it from a licensed agro dealer. So we're going to take a short commercial break, then we're going to be back with more information.
Is the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. Agriculture provides most of the world's foods and fabrics. It is not only a source of food and income, but also creates employment opportunities for many people in the world. Over 1 billion people worldwide work in agriculture, generating 2.4 trillion for the global economy. The global impact of farming on the environment is revealed that 40% of the Earth's land is now given over to agriculture. Agricultural development is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost shared prosperity, and feed a projected 9.7 billion people by 2050. And we, the Our Farmers Media, roll the carpet for you as we welcome you to our thrilling farm visits to different farmers that educate and inspire you in different sectors in agriculture. Catch us also on our shows on all our social media platforms as we bring you educative and informative information that will help you learn and guide you on your agriculture journey to success. Our farmers attain knowledge and grow profits.
Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to our Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. And I'm your host, Misaro Chweya. If you're new here, karibu sana, karibu sana. And do not forget to follow us on our social media platform, where we are on Instagram as a Farmers with a Z. On YouTube and Facebook, we are as a Farmers Media. Follow us on our pages, and do not forget to turn on the post notifications so that you're notified every time that we have new content for you. And you can also share with your friends so that we can share this information, because agriculture is what holds every department in every country, or because agriculture is what holds the whole industry, and we need to be very careful on agriculture, because I believe that food is an investment. And every food that we take to our bodies is an investment. So if we do not use safe food, that is a debt. Because that's a debt that we're going to deal with baadaye. Hiyo ni deni juu. If you don't take healthy foods, it's most likely that people are going to be sick. And hiyo ni deni, you're going to be sick na utalipia hiyo deni. But when you do a good investment, like making sure that we're having healthy food in our farms, then hatutakuwa na deni. It will just be a good investment for ourselves and our loved ones. So today we are also saying, as I had said, we are talking about why are we having this campaign for food safety, for creating awareness on pesticide use, and making sure that we're using our pesticides in the most safest way. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to get back to you on, I'm going to give you a background on this. So in 2016, the AU, there was a new plant health regulation registration that was done in 2016, and these bodies started working in 2019 December in training farmers on the safe use of pesticide and regulating the uses of pesticide for local and international markets. Fortunately, for international markets, there are limits of pesticide residues which are supposed to be found in the produce that we are exporting for the EU market. And if the pesticide, because they are tested and all that, if the pesticide residues go beyond the minimal residue limits that are set by the EU, the products are going to be disqualified from entering to the AU market. For example, in Kenya, there was a disqualification of bees, or rather, because they were found, the chemical residues were found in the food, unfortunately, mostly on bees and beans, because people were not really making sure that they're observing the rules and how the pesticides operate. They're not observing the PHI, which is pre-harvest interval. We're going to talk about that later, but let me give you this. So because when the products was tested, there were some chemicals which were found there. We're going to highlight the chemicals because there are so many which are listed, and you're going to forgive me because I'm not going to be able to pronounce all that. So there were chemicals which were found, and due to that, the bean was fast. Kenyans were not able to export bees. But later in 2020 May, the residue level limits, which they were supposed to be 5%, but now they were extended to 10. They used to be 10%, 5%, but now they're 10%. So you can see the effect of not observing or not using our chemicals in the way they are supposed to be used to help us grow more crops so that we can access the market and grow clean crops. If we're not going to observe these rules, we're not going to have an international markets, because they are very strict. Unlike in Kenya, which is unfortunately, because sometimes we import food from countries which are using chemicals which have been banned in Kenya. I'm not going to mention any country, but this is just to tell you that we need to be careful on where we are importing, because sometimes unaweza sikia tuseme kitu kama vitunguu, ati vitunguu za I don't know which country, they are cheap compared to buying in Kenya. But as Kenyans, tumeuliza hizo vitunguu what have they used? What have they used to grow those vitunguus? Do we have any control on measuring the residual limits of foods which are coming into Kenya? Or tunanunua tu, we come and sell to our country because because when we import, that is cheap. So please, as Kenyans, let's make sure that it's going to start with me who is importing, then it goes to the consumer. Let's make sure that we are having this information when we are importing something. Let's actually not import things because mimi nauza vitunguu na nataka vitu cheap, so acha niende nilete vitunguu cheap from this and this country and I'm going to make more money. Yeah, it may be cheap, but let's make sure that we are actually doing our background check and ensuring that that country is using pesticides which are safe for our environment and safe for our health. So as I was saying, so the bees residue limit was increased to 10%. And if we do not observe this, because it's really disappointing, because when these people are going to actually check the residue level, they're only going to sample and pick one and pick very little, like let's say 500 grams, and check it out of maybe 1,000 tons. They're going to use 500 grams to check the residue levels, and they're not going to care if the residue level exceed the set limits. They're going to disqualify those. The all produce is going to be disqualified. The all produce is going to be disqualified. So that's why it's really very important that we understand why we need to make sure that we are using our pesticides safely. And one thing that we can do is that we can actually always consult agronomists, because I know as a country we don't have so many extension officers as we should, but we can consult and get to understand how we are supposed to use this pesticide. So I was also saying that why we are having this campaign is that people are not, or farmers are not observing PHI. And it's very unfortunate that you may get people who are growing crops. They are growing because agriculture iko na pesa. That's why they're growing. So they're just using chemicals. And what you understand, the PHI, which is pre-harvest interval. That is really very, very, very important. And what is this pre-harvest interval? Is the time that you take when you have sprayed a product to the time that you're going to harvest. And if this time is not, if that period is not well observed, that's when we have chemical residues in our foods. And that is the most what can I say? The most dangerous, because if we do not observe that PHI for our crops, we are going to have chemicals. We're going to give people chemicals. And as I'd said when I was introducing this topic, I said pesticides are made to kill living organisms. And we are living organisms, so we need to be very, very careful. So before we continue that, I can see we have people who are coming in. We have let me introduce people who are coming in. We have Erika Msimbi, thank you so much for coming in. We have Elizabeth Masa, who is also watching, karibu sana. We have Generali. And we also have Catherine Nyambura. Catherine Nyambura is saying, how do we measure pesticide residues in our produce? I'm going to talk about that. And then we have Michael Kabi. And then we have, okay, I'm just going to say the second name. Makala is also watching. Thank you so much for coming in, guys. And please, you can share our content so that we can have more people coming in. And you can also bring in questions so that we can, I can try to answer if I have the correct answers. And we have Michael Kabi is saying interesting stuff. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming in. So we are going to, let me answer Catherine's questions, which is, how do we measure pesticide residues on our produce? How do we measure that? How do we measure? Okay, I'm going to answer Catherine's question, which is, how do we measure pesticide residues in our produce? How do we measure that? So I don't know if Catherine, if you're still watching, I would like you to equip precise in our produce in Kenya, ama zenye zinaenda nje, ama the ones that we are exporting. So if it's what we are exporting, there's something that is called, for AU market, they have something that is called European Trace System Rapid Alert System for Food and Feeds. So this food, through this system, the foods are taken to a lab and the molecules are tested. So if they find so they are tested in a lab. Yeah, they're actually tested in a lab. And sometimes they will, if they're harmful and exceeding the permit level, so that is disqualified. So in the EU market, they are taken to the lab and the molecules are tested. If molecules of the pesticide, the chemicals are present, they are present, and if they are exceeding the limits which are set, the standard which are set, as I said, for example, for beans and peas, it is supposed to be 10%. If that is the minimal 10%, the minimal, which is actually safe for human consumption. But if it's beyond that, if it's, let's say, because they're saying it's 10%, if it goes to maybe 20, if it goes to 11%, that is disqualified. 11% it is qualified. So what they do is that it is measured in a lab. It's measured in a lab. And for our Kenyan, because we actually don't take, mostly farmers don't take they don't take their crops. If they're doing for local market, they do not take their crops to the lab to be tested for pesticide residues. So what actually can happen here is that farmers need to observe the PHI, because this is something that has been tested over and over by the pest developer. Yeah, so they actually know how long the pesticide residue are going to take in the crop, and if we observe that period, then we do not need to worry about the pest residues. We do not have to worry about that. That's the only thing that we're supposed to do. So I hope that I've answered Catherine's question, and if we have anybody who has another question, you can actually ask a question and I can try to answer if I have the answers. Yes. And we can also, if we have people in the group who can also answer, they can also answer. So as I said, please continue sharing the content so that we can have more people coming in, more people joining, and share this. If you know any farmer, kama unajua farmer yoyote, share this content with them so that we can educate them, because this campaign is to educate the farmers, because I think that is where all problem lies. Because this pesticide, if they are properly used, we are going to produce more food. And we're going to produce not only more food, we're going to produce food that is healthy, food that is safe, and we're going to access international markets. So we're going to have a healthy planet. So if you know any farmer, please share out our content to the farmers. And if you're watching us and you've not followed us on our social media platform, kindly do that. And I'm going to say thank you. So I'm also going to, I've seen a comment from Catherine here. Catherine is saying, yes, it is answered. Thank you. You're welcome, Catherine. You're welcome. Thank you so much. So, yes, I think now I was talking about the PHI, which most farmers do not know. And I think I've explained about the PHI. I've really explained what it is. But now I'm going to give you like, okay, the length of the PHI. Mostly it can be more than a month. It can be 7 days, it can be 3 days, it can be 48 hours. It depends. But then something also that the farmers are not observing is when to use these chemicals with the different in relation to the PHI, when to use them. So I'd said this in our first episode of safe use of pesticide. We had discussed this, but I'm just repeating it to emphasize. So, or for those people who did not watch that, so farmers are supposed to use products which have a longer PHI when the crop is still young, and when it gets to vegetative and now it's in the reproductive stage, they're going to use pesticides which have a shorter PHI. And please make sure as a farmer you are observing this, because this is very critical. If the PHI is if the bottle of the agrochemical says the PHI is 3 days, That basically means it's 5 days. Why? Because you have the day of application, you don't count that. Then 3 days after application. So we have, if you said you applied on Monday, you're spraying on Monday, which on Tuesday, which is today. So you're going to wait for Tuesday, you're not going to count. So 3 days after Tuesday, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then on Saturday, that's the day that you are supposed to harvest. So farmers are not observing that, the PHI, and most farmers do not know what PHI really is. It's pre-harvest interval. Another thing that people do not know is the pre-entry interval, pre-entry time. Pre-entry time, because safe use of pesticide does not only include like how we should apply the pesticides to our crops. It also includes our environment and us as people who are doing farming, as people who are in the farm. Farmers and people who are working in the farm, we need to understand, especially people who are working in the farm. You know, I happened to work in a farm some time back, and then the farm had so many workers. But then there are so many people in that farm who did not know about the pre-entry interval, which is the time that you're supposed to take to get into the environment that has been sprayed. So you could get people get people walking around somewhere which has been in a what do you call this, you see the way you partition your land in a position, in a section that has been sprayed. So if you are working in a farm, and if you know anybody who is working in a farm, it's very important at this point that you share with them this. There's something that is called pre-entry time. So that is the time that you're supposed to take before you get into the farm that has been sprayed. So it usually can be 24 hours. So if somebody who is working in the farm gets to enter into that farm before that period elapses, it means that they're going to consume, and that is really very dangerous. And mostly sometimes these people who are working in the farms, they're people who do not know how to read. The people who do not, even if we have labels there, they do not know how to read. So it's very important, if you're doing large-scale production, educate your workers that there is something that is called pre-entry time, where they have to wait before they can walk around the space which has been sprayed. Before we continue about that, I'm going to answer another question. So we have Erica Musimbi, who is, okay, let me welcome people who have joined us. We have Lydia Tumo. Lydia Tumo, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for watching. Please share our content so that we can have more people coming in. We have Mumbi Mulenga, who is also watching. Mumbi Mulenga, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. And you can also share out our content so that we can have more people coming in and more people getting to know this. So I'm going to read Erica Musimbi's question. Is there a safe way of handling these pesticides residue after they have been identified? Is there a safe way of handling these pesticide residues after they have been identified? I believe that Erica is asking if when they identify the residues, is there a safe way of handling them if the crop has already been harvested and it has the residue? That's what I believe the question is. And if that is the question, or if Erica is still watching, you can actually tell us if that is what you mean, because if they have been identified when the crop is already harvested. Actually, there is no safe way to handle this. If the farmer because there's no way, if the farmer did not observe that is already toxic. that those crops are disqualified to use in the market. They are disqualified. They should be disqualified. Unfortunately, I will say in African countries, I don't think that happens. So that's why we're also emphasizing on this. If there's no safe way of handling them, they're just disqualified. If for the EU market, they are disqualified, Zina destroyer, they're destroyed. So that is loss of time, loss of money invested in the farm. I mean, it's a lot of loss. Yeah. So that's the case. I don't know if there's somebody that I didn't recognize as they were coming in. Thank you so much. We have and guys, you can share the content. Just you click on the share button and you share with your audience so that we can have more people joining us and more people getting to know this show. Again, this is a farmers media breakfast show. We are doing safe use of pesticide in partnership with UNIDO and MACAP. UNIDO is United Nations Industrial Development Organization. We're doing this, and we're doing this to educate and train our farmers on the safe use of pesticide. After this, we are going to have a short commercial break. Then we'll be right back with more on why we need to use our pesticides in the most safest way.
Farmers is the home of Africa Farmers Club and by extension African farmers. The whole idea behind farmers is to transform the image of an African farmer from a producer into an agripreneur, somebody who actually does not think about how to produce onions, but how much is going to be used to produce onions, and so that way then they can be able to transform their vision. They can be able to look at their farms as businesses, and they can be able to know when to engage with the market. What we have done is that we have developed a hub where farmers bring their information, bring their questions, their challenges, and other farmers are there to come out and help. Facebook has not just been instrumental. Facebook has been a working partner for myself as well. And Facebook has actually transformed the way we relate, an open platform. My background is in tech, and I know you cannot build a platform that can reach out to so many people. Initially, it was just a few farmers in 2 counties, Machakos County and Kajiado counties, but now it has transformed. We have a stronger membership from Nigeria and Zambia than even Kenya itself, And the reason behind this is the messages I get from different farmers across Africa. And then something interesting came to my mind, and I thought about using the camera. Every time I visited farmers, I would be able to post in the community, in the group, in my own profile, and just share the story of the farmer that I visited. And then I asked myself, why wouldn't I get this information, develop it in a way that other people can be able to benefit? If we go for a training, how do we capture that so that those who are not, the farmers who are not able to come for that training can still benefit? And hence the birth of a farmers media. Our mission as an organization is to help farmers, African farmers, to attain knowledge and grow profits.
So welcome back to Our Farmers Media, where we connect, learn and grow. Again, I'm your host, Misaro Chweya. So if you are joining us for the first time, today we are talking about why we are doing this campaign. We need you to understand, why are we doing this campaign for safe use of pesticide? Why? You need, before we can go, because this campaign is really going to be there because we need every farmer to be informed, and we need you guys to share out this content so that we can have an educated nation. People who are knowledgeable when doing something, they're going to do it in the best way possible so that we can have a healthy nation. So we are doing this show is about why are we doing this campaign of safe use of pesticide in partnership with UNIDO and Markup. We are actually doing it so that we can have more safe food, so that we can access international markets, so that we can not have our food being disqualified from the AU market, and also for our local market, so that we can have healthy food for our nation, therefore a healthy nation. And as we coming back now, we're going to talk about how pesticide safety is our responsibility. Everybody, we need to be responsible for this. We need, COVID has come to taught us how online education is really important, or creating awareness through online is very effective in this time and era. So please share our content out so that we can have more farmers. If you know any farmer, if you know anybody working in a farm, anybody that is involved in agriculture, share out this content, because we need to educate our farmers on good agricultural practices. And good agricultural practices include safe use of pesticides. So thank you so much. So let me check and see if we have new people coming in so that I can welcome anybody who is coming in, because we really appreciate visitors here. And if you are new, please do not forget to share us out so that we can have more people coming in. So if you are new here, also do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms. So as we are concluding this show, I'm going to tell you how important it is for all of us to make sure, including the private and the public sector, why we need to have safe use of pesticide. If you own an agrovet, please make sure that you are employing people who are knowledgeable about things that they are selling. So that makes it easy, because people are really using shortcuts. You are employing your son because you're employing your daughter, you're employing your cousin, because you just need somebody there so that they can just, they just sell. Because we need to have people who are knowledgeable about what they're selling, people who can actually advise the farmers, because I know most farmers, they just go buy chemicals. They just buy, and they're not being advised. So when a farmer comes there, if this person is not educated, they're not going to ask them, why do you need this? They're just going to sell because they're there to sell, and you need money. So from agrovet owners or agro dealers, let's make sure, if you're dealing with agrochemicals, let's make sure that people that we have employed in our agrovet, they are educated and they know how these pesticides work. Again, if you are a farmer, make sure that you check out the website for Pest Control Product Board. You check out their website so that you can understand the chemicals which have been accepted to use in Kenya. They actually have a downloadable PDF which you can download and read everything and go to your section and understand if you're doing let's say if you're doing onions. If you're doing onions, you get to see pesticides which have been accepted for onions. You get to see everything about them, the chemicals and all that. If you are doing potatoes, you're also going to get that, so that we can have specific pesticides for specific crops. At the same time, if you are a farmer, this information is really available. At the same time, we cannot keep on blaming people who are supposed to educate us. Well, we are not taking our responsibility. As a farmer, make sure you are attending this, you are attending trainings, you are watching our show. Make sure that if you have not watched our previous videos, you make sure that you watch that, because we are bringing you valuable information about agriculture. At this time, you're doing the safe use of pesticides. There are also other topics that make agriculture all. There are so many topics that we have covered on our channel, and on our channel or on our social media platforms. You can also call us on our phone number. We are going to have you can call us off on our phone number. You can also inbox us on any social media platform, and we can be able to help you. So as farmers, we all have part to play. So we are going to conclude this show saying that safe use of pesticide is very, very important. Kuna wale wanasema ati hatuhitaji pesticides. That is like saying hatuhitaji madawa. That's like saying that hatuhitaji pesticides. We need these things. The people who are saying that pesticides are hazardous, they are hazardous because haujui kutumia, because farmers are not using them effectively. So if we have people using them effectively, these pesticides are not going to be hazardous. When you get attacked from this pest, and then you use an effective pesticide, you're going to understand the importance of having them. So let's all take responsibility. Please share out our content so that we can have more people educated. So we have a new person coming in that had not seen. So thank you so much for joining in. We have George. George, thank you so much for watching. And we are now concluding this show. Catch us tomorrow from Monday to Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. We're going to be having these shows. It may not be safe use of pesticide, but it's going to be something about agriculture, because we need you guys to be educated and we love doing this. So stay safe. Make sure that you wear your mask. Make sure that you sanitize. Keep social distance as much as possible. If you can also get vaccinated, please make sure that you get vaccinated, and make sure that you're vaccinated because nimesikia kuna watu wanabeba vaccines from somewhere and taking them to somewhere else. So make sure that you are really taking care, because tukiendelea hivyo tunaweza pewa vaccines zenye si legit. So make sure you go to places which have been designated for vaccination, and so that you can get vaccinated. Thank you so much once more, and bye bye. See you tomorrow at the same time.